Hang on, Butch. Okay, we're live.
I welcome everyone to the City Council meeting for Monday, April the 10th. If we could have a roll call, Ms. Green, to
Harry Myers.
I'm here.
Okay. Autumn Slane.
Here.
David Avazino.
Present.
Oh, and Steve Holyfield.
President.
And Melissa Green, I'm here too. We have a quorum.
we have a quorum. All right,
Let's stand.
stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our city clerk is out tonight, so we're going to be kind of swapping around and helping each other out on this. And also, Mr. McClung is out with absent with notice. So if I can get a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Is any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor of the agenda as submitted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Get a motion to approve the minutes for March 27th.
I move to approve the March 27th minutes. Second.
All right, Mr. Meyer made the motion, and I think Mr. Holyfield made the second. Mr. Meyer made the motion. Anyway, any additions, corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We still are missing needing an applicant for the CAPC. So we need a couple of positions, or at least one, for parks. We got a position vacant on that. And we have in your folder, Ruth Hager is renewing her application to be on parks. She's chairperson. Ms. Green?
I'll make a motion that we reapprove Ruth Goodwin Hager for position 2 on parks.
Get a second?
I'll second that.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
One no vote.
Okay, 4-1.
No, 3-1. Oh, wait, you voted?
Yes.
Okay, 4.
All right. Also, we got a position vacant on HDC. So if anybody's want to apply for the Historic District Commission, please do so. Public comments, please limit your time to 3 minutes.
Hey everybody, I am Samantha Jones, Marketing Director at Eureka Springs Hospital, and I wanted to share 2 things with you today. First off, we have a totally new website, so I encourage you all to go check that out. It's very modern and user-friendly, and you all know me, you know I think all criticism is good, so if you have any constructive criticism for the website, please send it my way so we can get better at what we do. And the other biggie is we are having the return of our Earth Day celebration. That is going to be on Friday, April 21st from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Eureka Springs Community Center. And we are bringing back the Mega Brain, which is mega, and you can walk through it and learn the brain processes, learn about brain diseases, and learn the signs and symptoms of a stroke. So we encourage you all to come out that day at some point and enjoy Earth Day with us, and I just want to thank you all for supporting our hospital.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I could use a mega brain.
All right, any further? We got 2 more.
Hello, good evening. I'm Lila Allison.
You might need to speak up or move the microphone.
Is that a little better?
Much better.
Okay. My name's Lila Allison. I am a realtor with Century 21, and I'm here this evening in representation of my clients, Christopher and Elizabeth Engholm. They have an encroachment with their property that's right next to hospital property. We are asking for the very minimum to be sold to the owners. There is roughly a 4-foot encroachment of their building on city property. The building was built in 1920, so the encroachment has been ongoing for approximately 103 years, but we would like to clear it up for future buyers. So if there is time this evening and you could do the 3 readings that you need, we would really like to be able to move forward and sell that property. So I don't know if that's still something that you can do all in one setting. So if I need to come back, I'm happy to do that too. Does anybody have questions? Did you all receive the survey?
We have it on our agenda tonight.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, if you need any information from me, let me know.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Barden. I'm the Director of Tourism for the wonderful city of Eureka Springs. I wanted to give you an update. The Emmy Grant concert turned out to be a phenomenal success. On March the 10th, there was less than probably around 250 tickets that were sold. And at that point, I knew that we needed to step up, and we did some creative advertising locally. And before it was all said and done, we had sold nearly 800 tickets. And I talked to Amy after the show, and she was so overwhelmed by the love that we showed her that she says, I'm definitely coming back. And when I asked her, did she have a good time, she completely did a 360-degree pivot and said, I love this town, I'm coming back. And so that's the image that I want to portray to all our guests, whomever they are, whatever event they had, they fell in love with Eureka. And I was very proud. I want you to know that. You should be proud of that. I also want to let you know that we have a huge event going on starting this weekend for the next 26 events I have planned in the park for music. This Friday we have Mr. Tim will be performing, and also Saturday we have Mr. Cabbage Head and the Screaming Radishes. Don't miss that one. Also, I want to let you know that Folk Fest has been planned for November 9th through the 11th. We're finalizing the plans for that today. It's going to be very good. We're focusing on songwriting and creativity and having events where everyone can get involved as a family event and interaction with the audience, and I thought that was good. Also, Springtime in the Ozarks is April 21 through the 2nd here at the auditorium. I'm looking forward to that group. They're going to be great for our town, and just a good group of people that come to visit Eureka annually, and we really appreciate that. Also, our CAPC website, visiteurekasprings.com, is up and functioning. We're getting good content and feedback from locals and also businesses, and we're constantly updating that website, so it won't be long before it'll be very, very current. Now, the most exciting thing is we've been able to book our artist coming in July 27th. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but they played with Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson, Jimi Hendrix, the Rolling Stones, Eric Clapton, and Fleetwood Mac. So that's a teaser so that in the future, very shortly, you will know who it is. But those are the type of acts we're looking to bring to our town to create tourism and opportunities for our businesses to be able to sell their product and sell ourselves as the best place to live in Eureka and the state. I just want to give you that update. So there's a lot going on, and it's starting actually this week. So that's where we're at. I want to thank our commissioners, Mr. David, Mr. Holyfield, and all of you for having taken part in helping us be successful, and also Mr. Bush. Thank you very much.
Who's Mr. Butch?
Do we have anyone else? Public comments? All right, seeing none, we will move on to our business. We have no unfinished business. So this brings us down to new business. Item number 1 is discussion of the ordinance to deed 6 feet of the city property to 23 Norris. Get a motion to discuss?
Motion to discuss ordinance.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Green made the motion, and Mr. Meyer made the second. This is in your packet. You should have a legal description and a plot plan showing the encroachment of the house onto the city alley in through there. It's not unusual in Eureka Springs for this to happen, especially in the older part of town. So this comes up whenever somebody tries to sell the property and they end up doing a survey and they find out that the building is sitting on city property. So this is to clear up this deed restriction or this deed on here. Yes, sir, Mr. Meyer.
I see that there's still 10 feet, almost, well, 10 and a quarter feet between the two buildings, or between the property and the building, and so that's, what, 26 or 16 feet? That's plenty of room. I didn't know we had a Parent Street right behind it, and Ojo Street next to the, I wonder if those are vacated or not. But I don't see anything wrong with this, folks.
Mr. Jacoby?
It's right down the street from my house. Ida called me, I went down and looked at it. Yeah, Vance used to live there, and these folks came in and renovated it. Now they want to sell it. It's a little hard to sell it when you want to sell part of the city with it. So I looked at it. It's about 6 feet that we're giving up. 3 feet of its house, the other 3 feet is right next to the house, and there's still about 6, 8 feet between the clinic. So the clinic's got plenty of room left. There's just no reason not to give the folks this piece of property.
Forrest, there's no setbacks or anything? No, we don't need any variances or anything, do we?
Nope, I don't think so.
Because we're not building anything, correct?
No.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
In fact, I think the city building may be encroaching on Ojo Street. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, probably.
Probably so.
Do they have a buyer?
Yes, yes. We need to deed it to the current owners so they can have a clear title to sell it to the new owners. That's
Okay.
what the deal
So
is.
it's been sold, or it's under contract or something?
It's under contract, that's why Lila's here.
All right.
That's why we want to give them the land, so that you can get on with your real estate deal.
Do we have that pretty well?
Yeah, it's just 3 of it's house, 3 of it's blank next to the house. They need at least 3 feet next to the house, so it's okay.
All right, any further questions, comments? All right, can I get a motion to sign this a number and put it on first reading?
Okay. I'll make a motion that we assign the ordinance a number and read it on its first reading.
Second.
Melissa, is your mic
Second.
on? Melissa, is your mic on?
Oh, it is now. Do you want me to repeat that?
Probably should.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Ms. Green, if you wouldn't mind repeating
Okay.
that again.
I'll make a motion that we assign this ordinance a number and read it for its first reading.
And second.
We are going to have to wait on assigning a number until our city clerk gets back, unfortunately. But we can go ahead and read the ordinance contingent on getting a number for it.
You want me to read it?
Well, okay, if everybody's okay with the motion, any further discussion?
I think I second it, we can vote.
All right. All in favor of reading this, putting it on our first reading, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved. Ms. Green, if you'd read the ordinance, please, ma'am.
Okay, an ordinance authorizing the sale of a certain real estate parcel located at 25 Nordis, part of Lot 1, Block 95 Riley, and Armstrong Survey of the City of Eureka Springs, Carroll County, Arkansas. Whereas Christopher and Elizabeth Ingholm are the owners of 23 Norris. Whereas the house Christopher and Elizabeth Ingholm at 23 Norris is partially built on city property, namely 25 Norris. Whereas the City of Eureka Springs has requested to relinquish 6 feet of 25 Norris herein described below. the east 6 feet of Lot 1, Block 95 of the Riley and Armstrong survey of the city of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and being more particularly described as follows: commencing at the southeast corner of said Lot 1 for the point of beginning thence north 89 degrees, 49 minute, 43 second, west 6 feet, thence north 00 degree, 17 minute, 14 second, east 80 feet, thence south 89 degrees, 49 minute, 43 second, east 6 feet, thence south 00 degree, 17 minute, 14 second, west 80 feet to the point of the beginning containing 0.011 acres or 480 square feet. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, that Section 1, the title to the section of the property herein described above and belonging now to the city shall be sold for the sum of $10 to Christopher and Elizabeth Inghorn. Section 2, the provision of this ordinance are hereby declared to be separate, and if any provisions shall for any reason be held illegal or invalid, such holdings shall not affect the validity of the remainder of this ordinance. Section 3, all ordinances and parts therefore in conflict herewith are repealed to the extent of such conflict.
I get a motion to approve this ordinance on its first reading?
I move to approve unnumbered ordinance on its first reading.
Second.
Mr. Meyer made the motion and Mr. Holyfield made the second. Any further discussion?
I move to read this ordinance.
We need to vote now.
We do.
Yeah, okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Now, we can move to read by title only for the second reading, or we can postpone it until the next time and read both the second and third times. It's up
I'll make
to
a
the
motion.
council.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules, read for the second time by title only.
I'll second that.
All right. Mr. Almanzino made the motion to suspend the rules and read by title only. Ms. Green, second. Any further discussion?
An ordinance authorizing the sale of
Whoops,
a...
wait a minute. We need a vote.
Oh, we got to vote.
Yeah. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so moved.
Okay. An ordinance authorizing the sale of a certain real estate parcel located at 25 Nordis, part of Lot 1, Block 95, Riley and Armstrong, survey of the city of Eureka Springs, Carroll County, Arkansas.
Okay, get a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve this on its second reading.
Second.
Okay. I'm going to do a roll call vote on this, so Mr. Holyfield,
Aye.
Mr. Alvanzino,
Aye.
Ms. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Slane,
Yes.
Mr. Meyer.
Yes.
All right. Get a motion to read. Did you read this, Buzz? Have you read this yet?
Yeah, I read it.
By title only?
Yeah, for the second, but the third. You want one for the third?
We didn't read it for the second.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I read it.
Did we?
By
Yeah,
title
she
only,
read the
yes.
title for
Yeah.
the
Okay.
second.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we suspend the rules and read ordinance, no name, on its third and final reading.
Second.
Do I have a second?
By title
Oh, you
only.
got a
By
second.
title
Yeah,
only.
Yeah.
Okay,
Second.
Mr. Meyer made the second. Ms. Green made the motion to read it for the third reading for title only. All right, roll call, Mr. Holyfield,
Yes.
Mr. Alvanzino,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Ms. Slane,
Yes.
Mr. Meyer.
Yes.
Okay, if you would read it by title only.
An ordinance authorizing the sale of a certain real estate parcel located at 25 Nordis, part of Lot 1, Block 95, Riley and Armstrong survey of the city of Eureka Springs, Carroll County, Arkansas.
All right, although, can I get a motion to approve this?
I make a motion to approve this ordinance on its third reading.
Second.
By title only.
No, we were,
Oh, we already did that.
We've
Oh,
already read it.
Okay.
All right.
And you second it, all right. We're going to get this right one of these days.
All right, Mr. Meyer made the motion and Mr.
Avanzino.
Avanzino second. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, Mr. Holyfield,
Yes.
Mr. Avanzino,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes,
Ms. Lane,
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so motion passes, and 30 days after this, it'll be legal.
Okay.
Yeah, after we put a number to it. All right. That brings us to our next item is discussion of ordinance to establish a 15-foot trail easement along Spring Street. We have our Parks Director here, I believe. Did I see?
There
Ah,
it is.
yeah.
there he is. You want to come down and introduce
How's it
yourself
going?
and tell us what we're doing?
Oh, hi. How are you? Yeah, I'm Sam Dudley. I'm the new Parks Director for the Parks Department here in Eureka Springs. I know most of you, so. Yeah, so essentially, this is just to approve of a trail easement outside of, right outside Harmon Park office. Essentially, if you've seen the in-town trail maps, the new ones, David, for example, it's going to wrap around, stay on that side of Spring Street. That essentially the Crescent Trail will come down, wrap around, stay on the side of Spring Street, and then eventually it'll hook into the existing trail that's next to Grotto Spring. So it just is going to clean things up for trail users, get rid of the zombies in the Harmon Park parking lot. We call them the zombies because people just go back there and they stand around, they don't know where to go. So we hope this will help a lot and make people happier, because nothing's more frustrating than when you get lost on a trail in the middle of town.
Mr. Meyer?
So this is property from Crescent,
Yes.
from the Crescent that we're
Well,
receiving an easement to,
yeah,
right?
I'm a little, I think it's Elise Rennick. I'm not sure if it's under Crescent or Forest would probably know more about that.
Well,
I think it's Crescent LLC, but,
yeah, it's Crescent Properties LLC is the name I've been
okay,
given,
yeah.
which is,
I've been dealing with Jack because Jack's
Yeah.
sort of the caretaker. He's not the owner, but he's the caretaker of it, so,
But it is basically the Crescent Hotel property.
yes.
Yeah,
okay.
that's not,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all we need. Okay.
Cool.
Any other questions or comments?
So are we leasing this from,
Beg your pardon?
is the city going to be leasing this easement?
We'll be using it as part of the trails.
We won't be paying anything for it. They're just going to allow us to use it, but they just want coverage for if someone were to get injured, you know. Just, it's pretty flat, and, you know, I have a hard time imagining anyone getting hurt on that section, but they just wanted to cover their bases, so.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right, can I get a motion to read this ordinance for the first time, for the first reading?
I'll make a motion that we assign this ordinance a number at some point, and an ordinance for trail easement for parks.
Second.
All right, Ms. Green made the motion to approve this ordinance on first reading, Mr. Overfield second. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. If you'd read the ordinance, please.
I
ma'am.
will. Ordinance number whatever, an ordinance for a trail easement for parks. Whereas the Parks Department of the City of Eureka Springs seeks to increase the availability of trails in the city. Whereas Crescent Properties LLC has agreed to grant an easement described below for the purpose of benefiting the cities and the Parks Department in order to increase and mark trails properly in the city. A 15-feet wide trail easement along Spring Street, formerly called Glen Avenue, and being more particularly described as follows: the northerly 15 feet of lots 8 through 11, inclusive of Block 83, the westerly 15 feet of the alley between Block 83 and Block 36, and the westerly 15 feet of lots 25 to 35, inclusive of Block 36, all being in the Clayton Survey of the City of Eureka Springs. Now therefore be it hereby ordained by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Section 1, the Parks Department is hereby authorized to enter into an easement agreement with Crescent Properties LLC to allow an easement for the purpose of a trail on the above described property. Section 2, Crescent Properties LLC will not be legally liable for the use of described trail for personal injuries.
Got to read the emergency.
Okay.
No, do that.
Get a motion to approve the ordinance on its first reading.
I move to approve the ordinance on its first reading.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Byron made the motion, Mr. Holyfield seconded to approve this ordinance on its first reading. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and read ordinance number whatever on its second reading.
Second.
By title only?
I said that.
Yes, you did. All right. Ms. Green made the motion, and Mr. Holyfield seconded to read, suspend the rules and read the ordinance by title only. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so moved. If you'll read the ordinance, please, ma'am.
An ordinance for a trail easement for parks.
All right, get a motion to approve the ordinance on the second reading.
Motion to approve the ordinance on the second reading.
Second.
All right, Mr. Alvanzino made the motion, Mr. Holyfield seconded. Any discussion? All right, Mr. Holyfield, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Alvanzino?
Aye.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Ms. Slane?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we suspend the rules and read ordinance
Nope.
number,
No. Yeah, go ahead. No, you're
ordinance
right.
number whatever, a ordinance for a trail easement for parks on its third and final reading.
Second.
Ms. Green made the motion, Mr. Holyfield seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, Mr. Holyfield?
Aye.
Mr. Alvanzino?
Aye.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Ms. Slane?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yeah.
Read the,
An ordinance for a trail easement for parks.
get a motion to approve the,
I move that we approve this unnamed ordinance.
Second.
Mr. Meyer made the motion, Ms. Holyfield second. Any further discussion? Mr. Holyfield?
Aye.
Mr. Alvanzino?
Aye.
Ms. Green?
Aye.
Ms. Slane?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
All right, so moved.
I'll make a motion that we read the emergency clause.
Okay, got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Ms. Green made the motion to read the emergency clause. Mr. Alvanzino seconded.
Okay. Section,
Any discussion? All right, roll call, please. Mr. Holyfield.
Aye.
Mr. Alvanzino.
Aye.
Ms. Green.
aye.
Ms. Slane.
Yes.
Mr. Meyer.
Aye.
Okay, if you'd read the emergency clause.
Section 3, that due to the need to consistently apply all laws and ordinances of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas for the health and safety of the citizens of the city, an emergency is hereby declared to exist, and this ordinance shall take effect upon passage by the Eureka Springs City Council and signed by the Eureka Springs Mayor and City Clerk Treasurer.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right.
All right, that brings us up to item number 3, discussion of HB 1591, an act to amend Arkansas retail pet store. Melissa Green, get a motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss, please.
Second.
All right, Ms. Green?
Okay, this is, over 450 communities have banned the sale of puppy mill and kitten mill animals in the United States. Indianapolis is the last one. New York State is now working on ordinances to disallow it. Our state doesn't seem to see this. They seem to be into cruelty. Fayetteville passed an ordinance banning the sale of puppy mill and kitten mill pets in any pet store. And as our government down at the courthouse who doesn't believe in big government, again, showed they like big government. They recently passed a law that does not allow Fayetteville to honor that law. And so what I would like to do is read a Humane Society thing. A dangerous bill that protects puppy mills and their pet store sales outlets is being rushed through the Arkansas legislature and has passed the House and has also passed the Senate. The majority of puppies sold in pet stores come from mills, extensive breeding facilities where there's little concern for the health and well-being of the animals. Families who purchase these puppies and kittens for stores are often burdened with pet health problems that can cost thousands of dollars in veterinary visits to treat and can lead to a lifetime of medical complications. Harry over there certainly knows about puppy mills and can probably tell you some of the cruelty that goes on in them.
Puppies, dogs on chains that are just bones.
Yeah.
You can ask Dr. Pike. He worked up in Missouri and for the state and had to go inspect these places, and he said it was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Just.
Animals stacked on top of each animal. They don't even know what grass is. They urinate and pee on the cage below them. It's horrific. And so what I would like to do is make a motion that our city attorney make a resolution that we strongly oppose HB 1591.
I'll second that.
Do you second that? Okay. Further discussion? Ms. Lane?
Are we allowed to oppose it, or do we need to make another ordinance that can
I think we can
house
make
the
it,
same idea?
Yeah, I'd like to do an ordinance, but the state has overruled. So we could just, try to enforce it, but, so.
we really can't make an ordinance that supersedes what the state says. I think we can do a resolution,
We can do a resolution opposing.
because all the resolution is what we think. It doesn't mean that we can do resolutions for or against, it just doesn't have any significance as to an enforcement.
May I say one more thing? I'd like to give a big shout out to our Humane Society. He's not so new, our manager there has established a low-cost spay and neuter, a low-cost vaccine. He's done outreach with education. He's connected with Best Friends, which is a Walmart-sponsored pet rescue in the state. He is also working with our police department, the Green Forest, Berryville, and Alpena to help with the dogs. And, there are so many animals that need adopting. We just don't need puppy mills. Breeders are a different thing. Breeders breed animals. Not only, they do it for profit, but they do it because they love the animal. And these animals are raised in a beautiful environment. They're socialized, and they do make wonderful pets if you so want a purebred.
Any other comments? All right, we got a motion and a second to have Mr. Jacoby write a resolution against, I'm stating,
Strongly opposing.
strongly opposing
House Bill
This-
1591.
House Bill 15.
yeah, I don't know what it is now since it's gone to the governor. She signed it, so it's a law. But,
Okay, we'll find out.
We'll find
strongly opposing the Arkansas Retail Pet Store Consumer Protection Act.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved. All right, next item of business is discussion of protection of city employees and commissioners. Ms. Green. Get a
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All right, motion to discuss. Go ahead, Ms.
I
Green.
don't even know where to start on this one, but many of our city employees, our commissioners have been verbally assaulted, they've had things thrown at them. We can't do anything about Facebook, the viciousness that they've had to endure on Facebook. It's unreal. Not one of our staff should ever have someone screaming obscenities at them, throwing things at them. And I'd just like to know if there's something that we can do to protect our employees, because we've got some fantastic employees now. They're younger. We want to keep them. I mean, we've run off 3 young people in the last year. And Scott out there can tell you about being attacked after a CAPC meeting. I mean, this isn't good. And until we can protect our people, I mean, I don't blame them for quitting. I wouldn't want to put up with it.
Mr. Myers?
It seems to be a bad habit. You know, it depends on whose ox is being gored, but it just seems to be a bad habit. If some people don't get their way, they come to City Hall and start cussing people. I know that's why the City Hall was closed at lunchtime, and in the past was because if the person minding the desk up front was there by themselves, they would hear it all by themselves, you know, no one there to protect them or help them out. Yeah, I don't know what we can do to stop it, but I'd hope that people will just think about how they would feel if they were confronted the same way.
Forrest, can we ban certain people from the courthouse if they misbehave? Or is that against the law?
Well, you can have restraining orders and stuff like that. If someone, I mean, there are laws in place for assault
Right.
and that sort of thing. And if somebody is a problem, we can take whatever legal remedies are necessary. And obviously, we can't allow ongoing things of that type. And should that arise, we will take measures to prevent it. There have been numerous instances where people who work for the city or who have been on, who are on commissions have been verbally assaulted. And again, this is wrong. This is terribly wrong. But laws are in place. If laws are broken, we can enforce them. But we really can't ban people unless they have an ongoing behavior pattern of that sort.
What about, could we put cameras in? I don't want cameras that are focused on the employee, because I just feel like it's snooping, but maybe in front of their desk where who's ever there, because somebody's going to assault you, they're going to run out before the police can get down here. But at least we'd have them on tape, and if we chose to do something, we could.
Well, yes. The problem is some of these assaults have taken place on the street, outside the auditorium, and after the meeting, and we can't have cameras everywhere.
No.
Again, it should be a case-to-case basis. And when a case comes up, we can deal with it accordingly if someone should complain, or if there's some actions we can take, we will certainly take them.
Okay. Well, I hope that we will, because I don't want to lose any more of our staff, and we've lost 3 of them to just the nastiness. And they were our young people, and we keep saying we want young people, but it seems like we just want them for sport. And so I would like whatever we can do to see done.
I know it's already affected our applicants for the CAPC director. People have applied and then they turn around and pull their applications once they kind of looked into what's going on here. So it's going to affect the quality of applicants, the number of applicants we get, probably even the CAPC commissioners. So we're not having a lot of applicants for that either. So I would urge the police chief to enforce the terroristic threat laws and any other laws there are to protect employees and commissioners. I mean, at some point, this becomes illegal, what people are doing, and it should be enforced.
All right, anyone else? Okay. We'll continue on then with our next item of business, which is discussion of annual inspection for short-term and long-term rentals. Mr. Almanzino, get a motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss?
Second.
Mr. Almanzino.
Yes. So recently, especially during this past legislative session, we've seen cities that were essentially on the attack for enacting ordinances protecting our properties with short-term rentals. And it got me to thinking about a lot of things within our own city with our short-term rentals and long-term rentals. And to my knowledge, there's not really any specific ordinance or rules in place that allow for annual inspections of these properties. I know they're there for commercial because I've gone through them myself every year, but as far as apartment buildings, quadplexes, whatever, there's nothing that says that these structures need to be inspected on a yearly basis for, simple things like smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, any faulty wiring, plumbing, sewage, whatever. And I would like us to start the discussion on bringing some ordinances into place to have these properties inspected. I know there aren't that many, so they should be able to be inspected at least once a year. I know commercial properties are already. And these would just be for, STR and LTR properties that are in residential areas.
Ms. Green.
I agree with David. Years ago, when I first got on the Planning Commission, had written up an ordinance addressing kind of what you said with the smoke detectors, the inspections, and the chair sent me in, and I was pretty green, and they just kind of ran over me, and the ordinance was mute. So I think I would like to send this back to planning for them. I'm sure they would be glad to write an ordinance about inspections of, our long-term, our short-term. I know I get inspected every couple of years, but every year I have to turn in my fire extinguishers. And these long-terms aren't doing that. And I think it's really important that we do, that we have the safety things in place.
Mr. Myers.
I think that the city attorney and the code enforcement officer and any of us that want to put in some input can come up with an ordinance similar to what Fayetteville has and Little Rock, so that we're kind of up to speed, allowing the fire marshal to do more in the way of inspections and knowing that he can do it. I think he's confused about where he can go and where he can't go, and we should clarify that.
Actually, I don't think, let me say, first of all, our building official, code official, Jacob Coburn right now is down in Little Rock attending a seminar. He was asked to attend by the Arkansas or Little Rock Housing Department of Housing and Neighborhood Programs on code enforcement. In particular, how to identify residential properties, the residential inspection process, procedures for processing rental reports, rental inspection reviews. And so a lot of what you're talking about is already listed. It's not city ordinance, but it's in state building code. And so the fire marshal and the building inspector both have set up on new units, or when they change hands, they go through an inspection. Now, commercial, they go through because we're short-handed. We haven't always been able to do yearly, but the procedures that we have set down is to do a yearly inspection of all commercial properties, including rentals, or especially the Airbnbs. It's difficult when you have And in fact, you run into, I think, probably some constitutional issues when people are living in a rental property of being able to come in and inspect their house. Now, when you do, what you do is when it's becomes vacant, then they can come in and inspect the house and make sure that fire extinguishers, smoke alarms, those are things that the building code requires them to do and should be done. And Jacob I think, has got a pretty good handle on that. And this workshop is all week long, starting today, going through Friday. And so, I mean, it touches all bases of the code, includes, like I said, a lot of different issues, nuisance violations, submittals, pickups, notices, how to identify rental properties, which is something he and Kyle, our planning directors, are working on already. Processing mobile home files, unsafe vacant structures, which is, so there's a lot of issues that are already in here. And then they've also looking into court dockets and court procedures. So I think when he comes back, I think we'll be in better shape to see if there's any ordinances that we need that the state building code doesn't already address. We have state building codes that address commercial, and then we also have residential building codes. And they're two separate codes, but both of them in the fire marshal included go by those. And so anytime, like I said, anytime there's a sale of the property, then they come in and inspect it. And I think what we need to do is, and again, make a procedure that when these multifamily homes become vacant, that they become, the building inspector or fire marshal goes through and inspect those too. So, and basically it's for, it's for their own, the tenants' safety, life safety. I mean, we all want to be safe when we rent a place and have fire extinguishers and smoke alarms and make sure they're all there and the building's safe. So, and then of course any new construction will always have this inspections going on too. So what I would suggest before we get too far along is let's wait and get Jacob up here and see what he's learned and what we need to do as far as ordinances. And
Is it possible to have him come talk at the next meeting?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure he'll be real excited. He was excited. He got a phone call Friday afternoon, inviting him down to Little Rock for this.
Good.
So he was excited about it. So, and it's, 5 days is, he's going to come back full of information.
That's pretty intense, yeah.
Yeah, and I think,
He's
Butch,
young enough to retain it.
what I just wanted to I guess, point out is that you mentioned, constitutional rights and whatnot, and having lived in several multifamily units or apartments myself throughout my years, there's always that clause in it that says we may enter your apartment for fire, safety, health inspection at any given time.
Absolutely.
And,
Standard lease.
But the time to do that's when they move in.
well, no,
Before they
even,
move in. The owners always have the right to come in at any time. So if
well,
we can
and
get it
that's
started-
part of my question is, or my statement is that, let's say that we have a long-term rental where someone's lived there for 7, 8 years and that property has not been inspected. And from my research from various cities throughout the state, almost every city has an ordinance in place for the inspection of these short-term and long-term rentals that specifically outlines when they can and cannot enter, what has to happen during these inspections, who's involved in the inspection, who do we contact if there's an issue, because we all know that we have people that own properties here that don't even live in the state. We don't even know exactly who to contact when something happens. And those ordinances specifically spell out that the owners of these properties have to have these things in place within that ordinance.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I would say, while you're talking about the short-term rentals, in case people out in the public and everywhere don't realize, the bill, the HB, or SB rather, 197, short-term rental bill, failed finally to get out of committee, so it's done for this time. However, who knows what's going to happen in 2 years when it comes back up for legislation again. So I think it would behoove the Planning Commission to start looking at what happens if they do rule that our ordinance is invalid, banning short-term lodging. And of course, one of the things we heard was parking, but there's other issues that can come up for that same thing. So I think the Planning Commission's got its job cut out for them looking into short-term rentals for sure. But I think also at the same time, like you mentioned, the short-term rentals, we have it already on our books to review those every year. And same thing with hotels and motels. Those are commercial or short-term rentals. The multifamilies are different issues, so we'll have to get with Jacob when he comes back and the fire marshal and see what we can do, what ordinances we need. So, other discussion? All right. I saw a member of our planning commission back there, I think, so I'm sure he's taking notes to report back on there. All right, so that concludes tonight's meeting, and we got agenda setting. Anything for right now? All right, city council comments. Mr. Meyer, I'll start over on your side.
All right, well, pretty day. Pulled my first 2 ticks off, so I guess it's springtime.
Ms. Slane?
I just wanted to thank the Crescent for another wonderful Easter. The bunny was there, and they did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Green?
Well, I'm a little more somber. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, independent, libertarian, whatever. What I witnessed last week in Tennessee scared the hell out of me. It showed fascism, almost bordering on Nazism, to remove elected officials. It went against the will of the people, their right to assemble, their right to free speech. I mean, I'm just stunned, and I hope that people in this country, no matter what political affiliation you have, see this for what it was. I mean, this was a very, very scary thing.
Mr. Avanzino?
I just want to comment on what Ms. Green brought up earlier about commissioners, city council members being harassed and bullied. I think that, there's some steps and things that we can do ourselves to thwart anything like this. There's already procedures in place for employees of the city to report harassment, that kind of thing. But we can do our part as well. We don't necessarily need to engage every time someone says something bad about us. So what? We're elected officials, it's going to happen. Sometimes we need to take a step back, sit, listen, and sometimes keep our mouth shut. And then there will come a point where you can't keep your mouth shut, but at least do it in a dignified manner.
It's all lies.
Mr. Holifield?
CAPC, our workshop times are going back to 5 o'clock, and our meeting times are going back to 6 o'clock. So this Wednesday at 5 o'clock is our next CAPC workshop. They have a committee to hire the executive director. We'll meet on the 19th at 1 o'clock here, from 1 to 6, I think, is scheduled to start interviewing people. And moving forward with that, we still have the vacancy for commissioner. And I do want to do a shout out to Scott for doing a great job as interim director, and he's really working hard, and we really appreciate it very much. So, okay, thank you.
All right. I want to go ahead and start off and kind of carry on. Ms. Green talked about treating our city employees. I've witnessed and seen in my own office, I've been cussed at and yelled at and treated with very little respect. And I know some of our, and that's, you know, being mayor, that's sometimes what you get. You know, that's why you get paid for. Doesn't make me feel any better, because I think that we all, whether you're a city employee or you're a citizen, we all need to be treated with dignity and respect. I think that's one of the things you hear so much about Eureka Springs, about being a wonderful, loving community, but yet because we are a family, what happens in the kitchen is not very pretty sometimes, and it gets very ugly. And I try to stress to all the city employees and that they are public servants, and they're also the people who are the welcome committee to Eureka Springs. And whether you're a resident or a visitor, you need to be treated with respect and dignity and through here. And at the same time, I would like for the residents to realize that, you know, city employees are city employees. You know, sometimes they carry the bad news and have to tell you no, or that you can't do something, or you have to do this and cite the regulations. That's no reason to get mad and start trying to bully your way and acting ugly to the employee. As mentioned, we've lost several employees, I think because of the way the public and certain individuals have acted to the employees. And that's going to continue to happen. We're going to continue to lose good quality employees by acting that way. And it doesn't bespoke very well for Eureka Springs when we're acting ugly. And whether it's in public or it's private, word gets around. We need to be able to work together. And I've always said, you know, that the one thing I think we can all agree on is that we want Eureka Springs to succeed. And to succeed, we need to have good people in Eureka Springs. And we need to have quality people, employees and residents. And we all want to live here and be happy. And I don't think shouting and yelling and calling names at the staff and the public employees are going to succeed there. In fact, it's going to run them off. I heard somebody say once that, you know, just as weeds grow exponentially faster than vegetables, you know, so does negativity and division drive a wedge among what otherwise may be agreeable people before the goodness gets out of the ground. And I'd like for us all to think a little bit about that before we say something, and you know, wait a minute before you say it. You know, count to 10 or something, and let's all try to work together. We all live, as somebody once said, downstream from one another. In Eureka, that's certainly true, except for the ones who live on the top of the hill, but somewhere, that's, we all are still trying to do the best we can. So with that said, I do want to compliment the people both on throughout Eureka Springs. I think this weekend, Saturday, was an excellent example of us working together and having fun and enjoying everybody. The parade was great, and the things going on in the park, the diversity weekend, was wonderful. And I think that shows that just because we are diverse and we have different things, we can all work together toward the common good. So with that said, this next couple of weeks, we got a lot of activities going on. We got the, I always love this one, the UFO conference at Into the Ozarks, April 14th through the 16th. At the same time, we got Tim Hillwood playing guitar and music in the park on April the 14th, 4 to 6. And then the following day at April the 15th in the park, we have Mr. Cabbage Head and the Screaming Radishes. That should be interesting. And then the 20th, 23rd, we have Springtime in the Ozarks. And we'll have a lot of people in town for that. And then the same weekend, the 20th through the 23rd, we'll have the Spring Fling Bike Rally. So we'll have a lot of activities going on. And then that same weekend, there'll be a carving in the Ozarks at McDonald parking lot. So a lot of good things going to be going on in through here. And I also want to give some information too. I think Eureka Springs finally sees what it's like to have a stoplight. And I don't think any of us are very happy with having a stoplight. I know traffic is backed up, business is being hurt, but we had to have the stoplight because we ran into some excavation that we weren't anticipating. We have to have a retaining wall up across from the transit building, because the grade is so steep there. And in order to build that retaining wall, we had to close one lane of traffic. And the State Department of Highway and Transportation required us to put in a stoplight or concrete barriers. So we're going to have some, some backed up traffic, but I think it's going to be a perfect time for us to try to demonstrate some love and tolerance among everybody, and because it's going to be frustrating. And I know it's going to be frustrating for the visitors and for our homeowners. I've talked to Public Works and engineers, and we're trying to see if there isn't some way we can do somehow to get the traffic light to be shorter, or to get it to somehow work a little bit different. But I think that traffic light is rigged in such a way that we can't do much with it, unfortunately. But again, it's temporary, and so before we know it, it'll be gone.
Do you have an end date on that?
Beg your pardon?
When's that going to be done today?
Well, the whole project will be 3 months, but now just that section we're hoping will be done. Again, it depends on people and the rain and everything else. We're hoping within, a couple of weeks, but it may be longer than that. So anyway, just be patient, but it is coming along. We will have sidewalks going up from the school up to the Nutton Fancy, right past that. And so I think when we get done with that, we'll be real pleased with it. So other than that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Get a second.
Steve, second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Stand up and leave.
Yeah.
All right, thank you all very much.